I suppose while I'm out here on this beautiful overcast day in Derby, Kansas, aka not New York City, I'll tell you about what I'm watching, over on Netflix, Hulu, and in this case, Amazon Prime Video. I checked out on the suggestion/recommendation of one of my 5 usual viewers, Fist of Fury. This is not plural Fist of Fury, it's Fist of Fury. Starring Bruce Lee, the one and only. This was a pretty decent movie. I probably should have done some research here, but I don't like doing that. I'm not in school. I think that this had some Americanization to it. There's this theme, Fist of Fury. I feel like that was probably added after the fact. After this was made in likely Hong Kong. Brought over to the American audience. Here, let's give them a little song at the start. The audio mixing at the start of this movie is really off. It talks about how there's this Chinese boxing instructor, and maybe I'm slow at realizing this, but is Chinese boxing just mean kung fu? Is that what that means? Because I've never seen like a strictly punch boxing thing. So if you know, comment below. Anyhow, this teacher has died, and there's this grieving student. It's Bruce Lee. He looks really stricken. He's like throwing himself on the grave, gets knocked out with a shovel. So now we know he has a weakness. Shovels or signs or whatever this guy was holding. So as this goes on, we have them set up this little memorial inside their dojo. I could be using the wrong word here. Chinese Boxing College Academy. And we had the bad guys' crew show up, and they believe some sign of warning says like something in their language. Get out of Japan. Is that it? Are they in Japan? Is that what the deal is? Or Japanese occupied area? This takes place like around World War II-ish, I believe. Maybe if not a little before. And you may be thinking, hey, this seems a little familiar to those of you who've seen Fist of Legend with Jet Li, where it was like Japanese occupation type issue, and then there's a sign and all this other stuff. Maybe that was in part inspired here. So these guys rough up the guys at the college or the dojo/academy, and then Bruce Lee puts on himself to get some revenge. Goes to their school, whoops everybody. And then they're thinking, we still want to fight these guys? Like, what the heck? Bruce Lee learns that these Japanese cooks at his academy place had poisoned the teacher. And so he murders their ass. And he starts, like, going after people and hanging them in the street as, like, some kind of, like, warning to everybody. Like, hey, we're coming after all of you. He drives, like, a rickshaw. And then like picks up and throws this guy out of it and kills him and hangs his ass up. He's like the interpreter for the lead bad guy. And he brings in, I think he said he brought in Italians, the bad guy here. What did they say his name was? Like Suzuki? Some kind of bike name. And so he's like, yeah, I've brought in like it's best Italian, British, American guy, whatever. The guy with the scar in Enter the Dragon. And so you know that Bruce Lee's going to have to fight his ass. Well then, as all this stuff's happening, the police are kind of sort of trying to investigate. Bruce Lee is hiding out in a cemetery at his teacher's grave. Not the most unlikely place to find him. It's like, well, if he doesn't know where the guy was buried, then when we go there, look for him. He might have eaten a cat or a dog. He has something skewered that he has barbecued. And I'm just hoping it's a chicken. Or something not cat or dog. But, he has a love interest chick. And the bad guys have raided his place again. Now they're killing people. There's like dead women there that we're defending. And this is kind of movie where like a lot of this outside stuff is done somewhere on a sound stage. You can see they got like the artificial turf in there. It's not quite daylight, right? Well, Bruce Lee, this is night, and he's just like, you know, screw all this, I'm going straight to the boss. Just goes into his compound, starts whooping ass, fights the scarred dude. I swear I knew his name too, and now it's pissing me off that I can't remember. I think his name's Bob. Shit, I don't know. Yeah, but this guy has like these suspenders, and this has, I've seen this inspire some fighting games in the 90s in arcades. But anyways, yeah, they have a pretty good fight. You know, Bruce Lee's showing off his speed. They've got him set up so it looks like he's jumping crazy high, but you can still tell that he's jumping plenty high enough. And I know that you've seen parts of this in, like, I think a Nissan commercial was using this stuff about a year ago, some of the fight scenes here. Talking about, hey, it takes strength and power to blah, 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 you know, something like that. I know some of this looks familiar. Yeah, so Bruce Lee kills him, and then he kills the lead bad dude. The guy had a katana. He was able to get a slash in on Bruce Lee. And you know, it's one of these type of things where it's like, if Bruce Lee's in one of these movies, people aren't touching him. So he goes like unscathed through most of this, as you probably saw in Enter the Dragon, right? Well, then the cops show up at Bruce Lee's academy, and like, hey, we need to take you in. You gotta turn yourself in. This has gone too far. And he's like, fine, I'll turn myself in. Because I'm taking blame for what I've done. You know, don't drag anybody else into this. And then as he's leaving, it's a very quick shot of this, but I think you have Italian mobsters pull out pistols and start shooting at Bruce Lee and everybody else. And then Bruce Lee just like runs and jumps at them towards the camera. And I had actually seen this like shot before in Game of Death, where they tried to repurpose these other actors as Bruce Lee, and they said that he was killed on a movie set so that he could go undercover, you know, kind of lie about it. And then that sort of foreshadows how his son Brandon Lee dies on a movie set by being killed by a gun that didn't have blanks in it. But anyways, in the case here, it's like Thelma and Louise. The movie ends before the good guy can die. You're to assume he did, but wouldn't all these other people get shot behind him? The inspector, you know, it's just a bad ending for everybody. Could they have really all shot just Bruce Lee? Or maybe he was so fast, you know, it gives you that glimmer of hope. Maybe he's so fast he kicked the bullets back at him or dodged him or whatever, right? Anyways, this is a pretty decent movie. If you're into Bruce Lee, probably one of his better offerings, though. Yeah, I maybe haven't seen most of his stuff. I think it's probably safe to say that Enter the Dragon's the best. Return to the Dragon / Way of the Dragon I like as well, but give this a look. 3 out of 4 stars.